The topic is cost, scale of production, and break-even analysis. So first we need to talk about cost. Like you read earlier, cost. We have to think about cost, irrespective of who we are, be it a business, be it an individual, whoever we are. We need to think about cost of whatever we need to do, because whatever we do as an individual, as a firm, or as a business, we need to incur cost. So it is important for us to think about cost. I think that is clear. So what is cost? So look at what I mean. There's a business cost. Considering the cost which a business may incur is very important, and it allows a business to, one, cost is the amount you would have spent to ensure that a product is made available. Cost is the amount you spend to ensure that a service is made available. So why do you have to consider these things? Why is it important for you to consider the cost before you make the product? Why is it important for you to consider the cost before you provide the service? One, it estimates its revenue against the cost. So you would have known the amount of money you would make if you have invested that amount of money to make the product available. So cost will let you to know what you stand to gain in terms of revenue when you start selling. I think that is clear. Two, it allows the business to take decisions regarding the project. So whatever project you are taking, whatever project you want to start up with, you will be able to know that, oh, is this project going to be profitable or not? Should I go on with this project or not? For example, like location. You can compare a location with another location. So if location A is expensive than location B, then maybe it is wise enough for you to choose location A. If location B is less expensive than location B, then you choose location A. So it's about decision. So with cost, when you are considering the cost you have to spend, it allows you to make decision about the project. I think you understand what decision is here. To decide on what you want to do. You can decide on the raw materials you want to use. You can decide on the kind of employees you need. You can decide on the kind of location you want. These are all about considering cost. The third one, it allows the business to determine the price the product could be sold. With cost, it allows you to know the amount of money, the amount you could sell that product. Do you understand here? Because you would have incurred the cost. So with the cost, you would have known, okay, you have to sell at a price that exceeds the cost. So for you to sell at a price that exceeds the cost, you would have put cost into what? Consideration. So these are the reasons why it is important for us as a business, as an individual, to put cost into consideration before we decide on our project, before we start the business. Is it clear?
Yes.
So we have types of cost. We have the fixed cost, which is FC, and the variable cost, which is VC. So what is a fixed cost? A fixed cost is a cost that does not change, even if the output changes. So these costs are constant. Irrespective of whatever might happen, we have to incur this cost. They do not change. You get me? So example of fixed cost. Look at what I wrote here. I wrote, these are costs that do not change as output changes for a firm or business. Example, rent, salaries, insurance, and so on. For rent, let's assume I take an apartment for my business, and for a month or 2 months I don't even work in that apartment. I have to still pay the rent if I still want to secure that apartment. So irrespective of me working in that apartment or not working, using it for operation or not using it for operation, I have to pay. Because it is constant, it is fixed. Do you understand what a fixed cost is here? A cost that does not change even if your output changes. You use it, you don't use it, you have to pay for it. That is a cost. Salaries, you have to pay your workers because it is a fixed payment. So you have to pay them. I think it's clear, right?
Yes.
Then we have variable costs. These costs, they are attached to the number of output you produce, to the amount of output you produce, to the level of output you produce. So these costs will change as your output changes. So we call them what? Variable costs. These costs, they will change as your level of output changes. Example, cost of raw materials. the cost you incur in raw materials will be determined by the total number of raw materials you need. If you want to increase your raw materials, the cost of your raw materials will increase. If you need 200 units of components, you have to pay for the 200 units. If you need 100, you pay for 100. If you need 100, you wouldn't pay for 200. If you need 200, you have to pay for 200. So if you need 500, the cost will be of 500 units. If you need 100, the cost will be for 100. Is it clear? So these costs, they changes as the level of output changes. If you are not producing, you don't incur them. Do you understand what variable costs are? When you're not producing, when you're not doing anything, you don't pay for them. If you don't want to produce anything, will you buy raw materials? Do you get it? Because you don't want to produce, you don't need to buy raw materials. Until when you need to produce. So whenever you need to produce a product, you need the components of the raw materials for the product. So the more products you want to produce, the more raw materials you need in producing them. So as your cost of raw materials increases, as the product you want to produce increases, the cost of your raw materials also increases. Do you understand the difference between fixed cost and variable cost?
Yes.
So with fixed cost and variable cost brings us what we call total cost. So what is total cost? Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. Are you with me?
Yes.
So the cost that increases as output increases and the cost that is constant will give you your cost, the business cost or the total cost. Is it clear? Like I told you, when you have fixed cost and variable cost, stop writing this. When you have your fixed cost and variable cost, when you add them together, you have what we call total cost. So that's why total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. So what is total cost? I said these are the addition of fixed cost and variable cost of a business over a period of time. So the cost in terms of your variable cost, the cost in terms of the fixed one, when you have them together over a period of time. That period of time we're talking about is the period at which you are producing that product. Do you understand? In accounting it's different. In accounting it is for a year. But in this we're talking about over that time that you are making your production. Because at that point in time you are making your production is the time you incur those costs. Is it clear? So that's what total cost is. Then we have the average cost, AC. The formula for the average cost is total cost divided by the output. Are you here? Or sit down properly, please. So every now and then I have to tell you to sit down properly. So for the average cost, it is total cost divided by the output. So that means you can still get your total cost by multiplying your average cost per unit multiplied by the output. Average cost per unit multiplied by output will give you your total cost. Since your total cost divided by your output will give you your average cost. What does it imply? Cost multiplied. When you say AC is equals to TC over output, this is what it means, right? Then you cross multiply. You have AC multiplied by output equals to TC. Is it clear? Do we get it?
Yes, yes.
Alright, great. So look at what we have here. It said a car manufacturer produces 3 models of vehicles, vehicle X, Y, and Z. So the variable material cost is this, the variable labor cost is this, the allocated fixed cost is this, the annual output per vehicle is this. So the question says, calculate the total variable cost of manufacturing model X and Y. Why are you playing that? So it says calculate the total variable cost of manufacturing model X, Y, and Z. I think we are done with this side, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to calculate the TVC, that's the total variable cost, for model X, Y, and Z. For model X, the total variable cost for model X is, you know what variable costs are? Costs that changes as output changes, right? So based on what we have here, we have variable cost on raw materials. Remember I told you one of the examples of variable cost is raw materials, right?
Yes.
So for model X, in million. For model X, the variable cost is 5 million. So we have $5 million plus variable cost, the cost of labor, because it's wages here. It is what? 10 million. Plus 10 million.
9 million.
Do we have, no, this is fixed cost. They said calculate the total variable cost. The total variable cost.
Ah, okay.
So this is for X. For Y, we have, for Y is what? 10 plus
14.
what?
14.
14 million, okay? And for Z,
8.
8 million plus
6 million.
So we get the final figure here. So the TVC for X is what?
15 million.
15 million. For Y is
24 million.
24 million. And for Z is 14 million. I think the first one is clear, right?
Yes.
So we go to the second one. They said calculate the total cost of X, Y, and Z. The total cost. Remember the formula for total cost. We say total cost is equals to FC plus VC, right?
Yes.
Now we know the VC of X. We know the VC of Y. We know the VC of Z. So TC. So TC for X equals to what is X? The FC of X. FC of X, 9. So we have $9 million plus the VC of X, $15 million. Do we get it?
Yes.
For Y, the FC of Y, 12 million, right?
Yes.
Plus
24.
24 million. Okay. Then we go to the last one for Z. What was the FC?
6.
6. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, 6. Yeah, thank you. 6 plus 14 million. So this is 24 million, right?
Yes.
This is
6.
36 million.
That was 20.
20 million. Is it clear?
Yes.
Do you all understand?
Yes.
Great. Now the third one says calculate the AC of X, Y, Z. And we know the formula for AC. AC equals to TC over output, right?
Yes.
Great. So for AC of X is TC. What is TC now? TC of X, 24 million. 24 over output of X, 4,000. This is 24 million. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Over 4,000, right? Then for Y, TC of Y, 36 million. 36, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Over what? 12,000, okay? Then for Z is TC, 20 million, right?
Yes.
20, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Over 5,000, right? So Z will be this. So here, 0,
It's
0,
6,000.
6,000. So for X, have you written this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So the average cost per unit of X is what? $6,000.
Yes.
Do you understand? $6,000. Okay? The average cost per unit of Y is what?
3,000.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
$3,000. And for Z?
4,000.
$4,000. Is it clear? Do you have any question? Okay. So that's about that. So with what we have here, we are able to calculate the cost for each of the firms. Is it clear?
Yes.
So the last question is saying this 1, 2, 3, 4.
Identify and explain.
They said, identify 2 possible uses of these results to the manager of the manufacturing company. Why do you need to focus on this? What are the reasons why you need this? Remember when we started talking about cost? We said a firm must put into consideration the cost of production.
Yes.
Right? So why do we need to understand the value of the cost of production? One, it allows, what's that? Why do we need to identify this cost? What are the uses of this estimation? One, it allows you to know which of the model is cost effective. Which one you make that will allow you to make profits. Do you understand? It allows you to know the average cost per each of the model. Do you understand? So with the average cost, you'll be able to know the price at which you are able to charge as a firm. Do we get it?
Yes.
So one of the reasons why you need to estimate or you need to put into consideration these things is one, it allows you to know the cost for each production in terms of their model. The model that incur most cost. If you have to continue with that model or not. It allows you to know the price at which you're going to charge for each motor vehicle produced or car produced.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So one.
You're right.
Yes, please. So look at what I wrote here. Stop writing, please. Look at the first thing I wrote. I wrote, it allows manager to know the amount to sell each model of cars, one. And two, it allows manager to take decisions about the model which is more cost effective.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Please write.